give him. Oh. Wow. Damn. What an interesting start to the video. Who put that tree there? Sheesh. All right, well, where were we? Ah, yes, the intro. It's gonna be a lot harder to swing a leg over this thing now. Ooh. Yeah, she's definitely a little taller. All right. Well, alrighty everyone, welcome to Dirtwiz. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. I know I am. Nothing like starting off a trail ride with a big old branch to the face. Anyhow, today we're just out on a quick little test ride because the first stage of my XT250 modifications has begun. So far, nice and simple, but we're gonna work our way up from here. My friend Tyler from Lakeman ADV, who you may know, go check out his channel. If not, makes some amazing content. We made some lifting links. I'll show you some footage on the screen here. No, they're not pretty. These are just prototypes so far. But what they do is they actually replace the stock links, and these are a little bit shorter, and they end up raising the bike. Now you can find these on eBay, Amazon, and Bradley Performance also has some lifting links available. And this raises the rear of the bike quite substantially, might I add. What it also does is it stiffens the rear suspension a lot. And like, I was not expecting this much. But I guess, you know, when it comes to suspension geometry and such, a little bit goes a long way. But I've been happy with it so far. As far as the handling, I had to lower my forks just a little bit in the triple trees, but they were already raised up a little bit because I have this fat Kenda K270 on the front, which is a little taller than the stock. I think it's 2.75 by 21. This is a 3.25 by 21, so quite a bit bigger tire over stock. So that raises the front just a little bit, so that going up so much in the rear didn't actually make too much of a difference as far as, like, you know, controllability and brake and trail and all that. And I feel like it's definitely just a little bit more twitchy, but on the highways and roads and stuff, it's still absolutely 100% stable going in a straight line or at highway speeds. So you know what, the trade-off is fine. But yeah, so we put these lifting links in the bike to get ready for the incoming YZ450F fork swap. I'm going to be putting some inverted forks on my XT here. And, well, those forks are a whole heck of a lot taller than the stock XTs. So we had to make sure we were able to successfully lift the rear of the bike up to match with those forks. When we finally get that fork swap going. So, and that's coming soon, and I'll make sure to show you guys as much of that as possible. But yeah, for such a quick, simple little mod, I didn't expect it to make the bike look this much more cool. It kind of, like, the stance, it looks like a dirt bike, or at least a lot more like a dirt bike. Now, I'm not totally trying to make the XT250 into a dirt bike. But I don't know, this I'm looking forward to this fork swap, honestly. I think it's just going to be a really unique, cool build. Definitely looking forward to it. Alright, so would I recommend just using the lifting links, even if you're not going to do a fork swap on the front? Yeah, actually, if you're a taller rider, you might want to consider doing this. We lifted it about as far as one absolutely could before the linkage locks into itself on the swing arm there. And I think we raised the bike about, oh, I don't know, about 1.5 inches or so. But wow, sure makes a difference in the ride height. And my feet can still touch the ground decently well enough at least, that it doesn't seem to have negatively impacted the center of gravity is what I'm trying to say here. The bike doesn't feel all that different aside from being a heck of a lot stiffer in the rear. If you were wanting to put lifting links on your XT, I would definitely not do it without at least putting some preload spacers in the front so that your ride height is a little bit higher, especially if you're a bit of a heavier rider like me. I'm about 190 pounds without any gear on, so if I didn't have the extra preload in the front, I really don't think that it would handle quite as well as it does. And also I have the larger rear tire, which brought the front up a little bit more as well. So if you're a little bit taller of a rider and you're thinking about putting some lifting links on your XT, I'd say go for it. You also gain a whole heck of a lot of ground clearance, which the XT already has a whole heck of a lot of ground clearance. So I'm kind of excited to see how many logs I can hop over now with this thing. It's gonna be crazy. And we already made it up to the road. Nice. Alright, so we've done lifting links, getting ready for the fork swap. So proof of concept in the rear, we're sitting a lot higher now. Still fairly controllable, still fairly stable, so that's a good sign. The second thing that I've done is I've added a post filter. As you guys may know, I have the K&N filter, and man, it's a good filter for filtering out like rocks and birds that may find their way into your airbox, but it's not really filtering a whole lot more than that. I can visibly see with my eyes the needle-sized holes in the cotton gauze there, so I really don't have much faith in it. I'll be honest, it was probably a complete and total waste of money. Yeah, so I've got a stock Air one coming just as a replacement, but in the meantime what I've rigged up is a little post filter. Lots of you guys recommended a pre-filter, but I was just having a hard time rigging one up in there so that the bike ran properly with. So I'll put footage up right now. There's these little 1/4-inch grooves right behind the air filter on the left hand side, on the engine side of the air filter box. And there's a little grate there, and then there's this little edge on each side. So what I've done is I've put some Briggs & Stratton, just some thin dense green foam in there, oiled of course, and I'm using that as a post filter. So the K&N's kind of like the pre-filter, catching all the big things, and that little foam oiled filter should hopefully be catching the dust that the K&N fails to catch. And it's been running all right so far. I'm still getting some coughing and hiccuping. My XT is just not a very happy bike these days, air filter wise. So we'll see. I did cut a couple holes in the lid to try to play around with either making it a little bit more lean, a little bit more flow. But I ended up taping it up with just some ugly red tuck tape. Man, I love that stuff. It's good for everything. Just so I can kind of adjust it as I need more flow. No, it doesn't look pretty, but it's sitting under the seat and no one ever sees it. So, you know, more of a function over form kind of thing. But yeah, still got to figure out. I would like to figure out a fully oiled foam air filter for the XT. That would be nice. So still got that in the works. Also, I have jets. My XT is 2010. It's carbureted, and I'm gonna play around with the jets. I got a couple to play around with because I also picked up a pipe from a good friend of mine, and you know, after the fork swap, I might as well just pop that on, do a little bit of fab work, see if it fits up, because got that pipe for the low price of trading one sticker, so I think that was a pretty good deal. It's so much fun having a stiffer rear shock. Wow, you can kind of hit stuff and not bottom out, kind of bounce over things a little easier. It's easier to get the front wheel in the air too. Woo! So we're getting a little higher in elevation, and my XT is going to start running a little rich here. That's my bet. Anything over hot throttle is going to start stumbling and choking a little bit. But that's okay, little XT. You got jets in the near future coming. Oh yeah. Well, if you guys are, if you have an XT and you're a little tall, feel like you could raise it a little bit, go ahead and get some of those lifting links from Bradley's or on eBay. I think Bradley Performance has a better deal on them than on eBay, that's for sure. You can buy so much locally. Yeah, give it a shot. If you're super tall and maybe a little bit heavier, you feel like you could do with a stiffer spring. Well, if you do this, you might not even need to get you might not even need to buy a stiffer spring, because this stiffens it up a lot. I'm not entirely sure if this lessens the amount of travel the shock has. I'm definitely not a professional when it comes to suspension geometry. That is for sure. Did we just come full circle? Oh, I know where we are. Where was I? Yeah, I'm no professional on suspension geometry. But, I mean, I don't know. Feels really good so far. I don't think I've bottomed out once on this ride yet. Which, bottoming out was, even with the preload cranked up, was, I mean, a fairly common occurrence if I was riding hard on this. So, I like it so far. If you're going to do this, you probably want to put more preload in the front as well, and maybe have a little bit of a taller tire than stock, just so that it doesn't get too twitchy on you. But in my experience, not too bad so far. Oh, she's coughing and spluttering. Let's see if we can make it up this last little hill climb. Spluttering, spluttering. Come on, old girl. You got this. Awesome. Nice little summit before work on a Thursday. we'll take a look at how she's sitting with these lifting links. Definitely a little bit taller, that is for sure. I think it looks good though, honestly. Nice and stout. Even when you're sitting on it, it's not sagging all the way down into the wheel well like it used to. So yeah, pretty happy with that so far. Good little ride. Not really happy with my air filter situation. Yeah, it's, you know, modding the airbox on the XT is proving out to be a little bit more tricky than I thought, and perhaps just as tricky as people say. I think it's this carburetor is just so finicky to air changes. So if we can't rig something up for it, we might as well put some type of PWK or a KN, maybe some other Mikuni flat side carburetor, something like that. Yeah, we'll explore that option in the future, but for now, main focus is that suspension swap, and then hopefully getting rid of that high RPM stumble that I've got. So play around with rejetting, simple pipe. We'll see if we can make it work with a foam filter, or maybe just go back to the paper air filter. We'll I guess we'll see. Alrighty, back down we go. Yeah, it's honestly feeling really good. Definitely a little bit more twitchy, you know, same effect as if you drop your forks through the triple clamps a little bit. Similar to that. Feels a little bit more tilted forward, especially on hill climbs. I think I need to adjust the preload and maybe back off the preload a little bit in the rear. That might help soften things up a little bit. Ooh, yeah, it got stiff. But yep, feeling good so far. Awesome little day for a test ride. I'm heading down now because I gotta go into work for the rest of the afternoon. But this was a great little ride, great little chance to be out in this beautiful nature. And thank you guys for coming along. Really appreciate you guys watching the channel. The channel's really growing nice and quickly here. I'm super happy to see. I appreciate every single one of you guys that has subscribed and stuck around, especially those who stuck around this far in the videos. You guys are the real ones. And just want to say thank you guys so much. Oh, wow. Man, that grouse was so camouflaged. Whew. Spooked me, not gonna lie. Oh, wicked. Smoky because of the wildfires, but still, even with the smoke, one heck of a view up here. Anyhow, really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and feel free to hit the like button and subscribe if you're new to the channel and you want to see where we're going to take this this little XT250. I'm planning on making something pretty unique out of it, so definitely stay tuned if you want to check that out. Anyhow, you guys have a fantastic day. Thanks for watching Dirtwiz. Peace.